Howdy everybody, my name is Rybonesk, and today I'm going to teach you how to move a character with just 3 lines of code. This video was made for beginners, so even if you've never coded a day in your life, by the end of this video, you'll be able to successfully make your own character move. Before we begin coding, let's add a couple of components to our night for later. First, we're going to add a box collider. Box colliders are used to allow objects to check whether or not they collide with another object. These are different from rigid bodies, but we'll get to those later. Once the collider is added, a green box will be shown around your object. This is the area that the collider will begin checking for other collisions. To edit the collider size, go to your inspector under Box Unity2D and select the Edit Collider icon. Now you can change the size of the collider using the 4 circles on each face of the collider. To exit the edit mode, select the Box Collider edit icon once more. Now, to begin coding, we need to create a script. To create a new script, you can select your object and click on the Add Component button in the inspector. Then, type the name of the script you'd like to create and select New Script. Alternatively, you can right-click inside your Assets folder under the Project tab and select Create and C# Script, and then you can name it down in your Assets folder. To add this script to your character, make sure you have your character selected and drag this new script into the Inspector window to add it. Once we're inside the script, we are given 2 functions. The start function, which is activated or called when the script is activated, and the update function, which is called once per frame. Now, above our functions, we're going to create some variables. Variables are used to store information in our script that can be used to reference other objects, scripts, sounds, and much more that can be utilized in our project. Our first variable will be a public float called moveSpeed. We can make this variable public so that we can edit it later in the inspector without having to reopen the code. A float is a number that can be saved to a decimal position as opposed to an integer that can only be a whole number. At the end of our variable, we're going to add a semicolon. In C#, a semicolon is very commonly used at the end to complete a declaration. For our first movement script, we don't need the start function, so we can delete that. Now in our update function, we're going to create our movement. Starting off, we're going to make a vector3 variable and title it movement. Vector3s are used to reference the x, y, and z positions of an object and can even be used in rotations and figuring out directions. Now, we will assign our variable a new vector3, and inside the parentheses is where we can start putting our parameters. Our first parameter will be used to return the value of our horizontal axis. This method is also used instead of checking for button presses because it references both keyboard and joystick inputs. To do this, we will type input.getAxis parentheses horizontal. Since we are only wanting to make this character go back and forth, our next 2 parameters will both be 0, referencing the y and z axes. The f references the float that we discussed earlier. With this in the update function, it will return the value of the horizontal axis each frame and update it so we can use it as we move. And now for the fun part. Let's make our knight move. To do this, we need to change the position of our sprite each frame so it looks like he's going to be moving. First, we're going to type transform.position. This tells the script to change the position of the object it's attached to. Next, we'll say plus equals movement times time.fixDeltaTime times moveSpeed. Time.fixDeltaTime is optional, but it can help improve your performance when getting into physics-based objects, so it's a good practice to use. We then will multiply that by our vector3 that we just made and our moveSpeed so that we can set it in our inspector. And that's it! Let's save our script and test it out. Now, as you can see, our character isn't moving. This is because we haven't set our movement speed in our inspector. To do this, we need to select our character and look at the script inside the inspector. Now, you can see there is a new input variable titled MoveSpeed. When we change this in the inspector, it will also change it in the script for us. Let's try setting it to 0.5 at first, and we can go from there. Voila! Now our knight is free to move back and forth on the ground. In the next video, I'll show you another fast method of making your characters move using physics, and this time we'll add some gravity to it so they can fall down. Howdy everybody, hope you enjoyed the first tutorial that I made for Unity. If you want to see anything else, just comment down below and hopefully we can make a video on that soon. Let's spread the joy of game creating, and I can't wait to see what you make. As always, I had a great time having you here, and I will see you in the next one.